Hi there, you're watching Time Warner Cable's local edition, the Sacramento Report. I'm Jaime Garza, joined today by Assemblymember Luis Alejo, and we're honored to have a civil rights leader with us, Dolores Huerta, who many of you know worked side by side with Cesar Chavez, and it's always good to see you too. We haven't seen each other in a while. But you're here in Sacramento for some very important business, and I'm going to have Assemblymember Alejo set up the story here. We're talking about farm workers' rights, and we had a tragic death recently and really brings this whole thing to light. Talk to us about that.
Well, this is a great week to talk about it. They celebrate agriculture throughout the state of California during this week, but it's also a good time to talk about the conditions of farm workers, the people who put food on our tables. And just a few days ago, the courts in Stockton made a ruling in a very high publicized case regarding a 17-year-old pregnant farm worker, young girl, Maria Isabel, and there were criminal charges brought in that case for manslaughter. But at the end of that case, the only sentence that was provided for this manslaughter case was probation, 3 years of probation, and community service. So it really shows that our laws that are in the books right now aren't the laws in the fields, and that farm workers today still have very little protections. And this hits close to home. As a child and grandchild of migrant farm workers, you know, our parents endured very tough conditions working in the fields throughout California, with very little protections, exposure to toxic pesticides, very little job security. But it was when they became part of a union that their conditions improved. And if I'm able to sit here before you today, it's because of these improved conditions that many people fought for farm workers and the children of farm workers.
And one such person is you, Dolores. You've been fighting for decades to try to bring some rights to the people in the fields. This has got to be very frustrating when you hear of a 17-year-old pregnant girl who dies in the fields, and it seems to many that was just a slap on the hand on her employers.
Well, it's really tragic. Like Maria Isabel, many farm workers have died. She was a young woman and pregnant and died of heat exhaustion in the fields because she wasn't given the water that she needed. Although there is a law now that we were able to get, you know, to strike some boycotts that they had. Farm workers have to have water, farm workers have to have toilets out there in the field and rest periods. And the thing is that in the farm worker children who've died from pesticides also, right now they're trying to pass, they've already approved this methyl iodide, which is a terrible, terrible gas that will, you know, cause more cancers and possibly more deaths, and we're trying to stop that from passing also. And the thing is that the only way that a farm worker is protected when they're in the field is if there's a union out there. Because when you have a union contract, there is going to be a steward out there. One of the farm workers themselves is going to be the representative. He's going to, or she, are going to make sure that they've got water out there. They're going to make sure that the workers are not working when their health and safety is being endangered, and that those farm workers who feed us every day are respected. And this is why the farm workers continue to need a lot of protection. They don't have those protections now, and they still need them.
Let's make this very clear. A lot of people say, well, a lot of the people who are harvesting our crops are possibly here illegal, but they pay taxes. Whether they receive the benefits from them, those taxes is a whole different ballgame. But those men and women in our fields are putting back into this economy, and they are the backbone, a lot of people would say, of our economy in terms of the tomatoes and the lettuce. And these are human beings, and I think sometimes we don't put faces to these people, do we?
Right. Well, in agriculture, it's over $25 billion is generated in agriculture alone in the state of California. 8 of the 10 top agriculture producing counties are in our very state. But at the same time, it's important to recognize there's over 400,000 farm workers that are working out there, doing the jobs a lot of people want to do, but they still have less access to health care. The education of the children is disrupted, and they need the same protections that all other workers have. And that's why there's a bill right now, SB 104, that's allowing them to become part of a union so they have better protections.
Assemblymember Luis Alejo, Dolores Huerta, both a pleasure for being here. It's a topic that I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more. And thank you at home for watching Time Warner Cable's local edition.